It's a new year for reading and spreading kindness. Hello and welcome to Checked Out. We're broadcasting from Euclid Public Library in beautiful Euclid, Ohio. I'm Jean Robinson, multimedia and communications specialist. My co-host Mike Stein isn't with us today. We talk about our favorite books, movies, services, and events with our favorite people in our favorite community. Each podcast features a theme. Today, we'll learn about a local organization that created a kindness campaign. Our special guests are from Values in Action, Ben Krutko, Director of School Partnership, and Amanda Guarneri, Vice President of Marketing and Community Impact. Welcome to the podcast.
Hi, thank you for having us.
Yes, good afternoon. Good afternoon.
Now, everyone would like to see more kindness, but your organization took it a step further by figuring out a way to get people to focus more about being kind. How did this program begin?
Values in Action, our foundation, began 31 years ago with our CEO, Stuart, and his wife, Susan. They had been going through some difficult times in their own life, and they found that through positive thinking that they were able to change their mindsets to be able to have more positive outcomes. And Susan Musinski, I should say, is a psychologist, and she is very well versed in all things to do with emotions and feelings, and they wanted to change the world. It was about the same time as Columbine. They started the organization in 1994, so roughly around that time where it was becoming apparent where kindness was needed more than ever in schools to combat things, negative behaviors, bullying especially. And so they came up with their first workshop that started at Berkshire High School out in Geauga County. And we've been around for 31 years ever since, primarily in schools, doing school programming. We have grown so much over the years. It used to be a singular workshop, and now we have a full curriculum based around our Kindland programming that schools can take and have items that they can do throughout the entire school year.
How many schools are involved? And if you could tell us a little bit about some of the programs you do with the kids.
Nationwide, we've probably got over 6,000 schools that do one activity or another or have been engaged in the program in the past. We just had our luncheon. We're in almost every county in Ohio. I want to say we're 3 short. We're 85 out of 88 of the counties, I think. But in terms of those programs, right, that's anything from a year-long kindness curriculum with different lessons, working in homeroom, advisory, and guidance to kind of build up those positive schools, to stuff like our promotion that's going to be coming up, which is called Kickoff for Kindness. So that's a video partnership with the NFL Foundation featuring players' kindness stories and then students' kindness stories from all over the country. Our winner last year, Mary McMahon, was from Mentor. And so she put together a really nice video with her and her family. And the winner of that Kickoff for Kindness video contest gets 2 tickets to the airfare and hotel to that year's Super Bowl. So we're really looking forward to this.
Quite a prize.
Yes.
It is.
How many entries did you get for that? And what was it that made Mary's entry stand out?
We got quite a few entries. I think the thing that really made Mary stand out kind of head and shoulders above the others is it was direct and heartfelt, right? Didn't have a lot of flashy graphics or cuts, but really her sharing her authentic story and then including her siblings and parent, right, in that message about how kindness is important to them and how it impacts their family.
What sort of response are you getting from the schools, especially from the teachers, after they have these special programs and contests?
We get a lot of positive feedback. The teachers are thrilled not only to be seeing the children do the positive, kind things in their schools, but it affects the entire culture. I think that we know that it's not just children that need more and more kindness. Um, Adults need it just as much. And so I think that it's a lot of practice what you preach kind of things with kindness in the schools, where if you're telling a child to do it, then you've got to do it yourself as well. So it is a total culture builder within their buildings. So we get a lot of positive feedback. And yeah, and I think it's just a way for these students that are so positive and they have so much to give. It's an outlet for them to be able to make a difference. And they take these projects and they can make them their own. They can make them totally unique. The beauty of all of our Kindland programming is that schools, it's flexible, so schools can use it however it best works in their schedule, and they can tweak it to however it best works with their students. And so it's fun to see them take it and run with it and see what kind of creative ways they can apply our mission and our messages.
We've seen the Kindland signs in local businesses and shopping centers and even on billboards. So it's fairly obvious that it goes beyond schools, and it's a program that adults and pretty much anyone can get involved with. I know Euclid Public Library became a resident of Kindland in November last year. Are other libraries involved as well?
So we're building out those relationships with the Cleveland Public Library and the Cuyahoga County Public Library locally. In Maple Heights, right, we're working closely with their branch manager to kind of connect those dots. That's the largest thing here, right? Is we have the messaging in school, they hear about kindness, but then if they can see that same message in their library and participating in a kindness culture, and then doing things over the summer when school is out or breaks or with their family, right? It builds it as a big movement across communities and the state and the country, rather than just something you're doing in school or just a one-off event.
Yeah, and I might add that the libraries historically have been extremely helpful in getting our programming out there. For a long time, we ran a program called Searching for Teen Leaders. And it was just that. We had a program asking people to nominate special teens who go above and beyond and show their extraordinary acts of goodness. And the libraries were amazing partners all throughout Northeast Ohio. Not only in posting the materials and letting their communities know about the opportunity to nominate, but sharing it through their own channels and networks, so their families and their communities can find out about it. And I think that's just important about all of the libraries. I think it's important to know that you are a portal into the world of everybody that walks in there and, is lucky enough to borrow your books and your media materials. And we really appreciate any partnership with any library because it just gets us one step closer to the audiences that we're trying to reach.
Individuals can join this campaign too. They don't have to be involved with a group or a library or school. Is that correct?
Yes, absolutely. We have programs throughout the year that anybody can come and join in. The celebration of kindness, if you will. Throughout the summer, we have a Summer of Kindness program where individuals are invited to take part in a challenge it's kind of a monopoly board kind of situation where they can go around the board and mark off the acts of kindness that they do. And then for however many they do, they get entered into a raffle. And then we have different events. We just got done with our Celebration of Goodness, which is a free luncheon that invites individuals to come and celebrate all of the goodness in our community. And then throughout the rest of the year, we have an app where any individual can log on to our app and share kindness and be inspired by the kindness that others are posting.
How can they get this app?
It's available on all Apple devices and on Android devices. It's called Just Be Kind.
Oh, what a great name.
That's our tagline. It's Kindland, Just Be Kind.
You can see the kindness acts that people around you are doing and logging in that app. So, it's a nice burst of positivity to see students, teachers, people in the community engaging in these different acts of kindness.
So they can join the campaign, and obviously they're encouraged to do acts of kindness, but You want them to report those acts of kindness
Yes.
as well?
One of the main parts about Kindland and the entire initiative is that we know kind acts are happening around us every single day, whether they're intentional or whether they're not, whether it's just someone holding a door open or saying hello, smiling. Those are all acts of kindness that make a difference. And then there are larger acts of kindness, absolutely, but we don't know about them unless people show their appreciation for them and share and tell us about them. And the only way that we can create that chain reaction of kindness, where one act of kindness leads to another and another and another, is if we share it and if we tell people about it. And if sometimes people are like, I'm not going to report if I did an act of kindness, and we get it, that's fine, but it's super important to report the acts of kindness that are happening to you. I think that's probably a little bit easier to grasp and to report on. And the more people do that, the more others are going to be inspired to follow suit.
Are there some unique kindness stories that you could share with us that have been reported?
Oh goodness, Ben, what ones have you gotten from schools lately?
The example that I want to give is just the Merrill, Michigan story. We have a video short with it, but where a woman who was in a retirement home had started the school's cheerleading team way back in the 40s, and their squad went to that nursing home and practiced their routine with her and talked to her about her experience of starting the squad, and even had her, lead some cheers and be part of their squad. The other one that I really liked around this time last year is we had a group, an elementary school, a group of like kindergarten through second, who went and built a whole bunch of snowmen outside of a retirement home for those residents so that they had a little bit more holiday cheer and something additional to look at. I thought those were really nice.
Oh, that's very sweet. I guess it feels good to read some of those stories, doesn't it?
Well, it's what you see and what you take in and read, right, becomes your reality in a lot of ways. And so we're in a time where there's a lot of negative press and people are worried about things. And so putting that seed of kindness and putting that idea of things may be better than we're thinking and seeing can be really powerful.
We're talking about spreading kindness today with Ben Crudko and Amanda Guarneri from Values in Action and their Kindland campaign. Was it a hard sell at first to get people to join the kindness campaign? Or did they just immediately say, yeah, that's a great idea, sign me up?
Some areas are a little bit more difficult just by nature of business, quite literally. It is a little more difficult to get businesses and corporations to buy in, but it's not because they don't love the idea. It's not because they don't love the concept. It's just because they're running their own businesses. They have their own priorities. So although they're doing those acts of kindness every day, we don't get as much reporting as we would love from those, but we have the support of the corporate community, and we're so, so, so grateful for that. Definitely, I would say in the last couple years, and Ben can probably attest to, we have seen such an uptick in even just our school involvement. We have had a lot of engagement with the schools. And to me, I think that's unfortunately a reflection of the times. I think that people are craving it. And I think that they want to see a better future for our children. But the community, however, so receptive, so inviting. We couldn't ask for more participation on that front.
So what I would say is, we're a foundation and we get funds from the state. We get funds from the Ohio Department of Education and Workforce. That lets us deliver that program to schools at no cost, which is a big help in selling the program, right? Anytime you can say free. But what I have seen at community events and conventions and conferences is almost everyone, I have somebody come up to me and say, this is something that we really need. We really need more kindness. We need more recognition of kindness. And so I think, just like Amanda said, there's a hunger for it. I think in like the post-COVID environment, I think people are looking for ways to grow their community and get to know their neighbors and do something positive. So it's It's less about it being a sell and more about it. This is something that we can do repeatedly, every day, every month, right, and build out rather than just, every once in a while.
How do you sell this? Like, if someone says, why should I take the pledge and spread kindness? What can you tell them?
I think I always say that I think the one thing that's so unique about kindness is it's the one thing that everybody can do and everybody needs. There are lots of nonprofits out there. There are a lot of programs out there that people can support, but not one that affects quite literally everyone. Everyone in our country, everybody in the world needs kindness. Without kindness and without the kindness of others, our world doesn't go round. And I think that's the biggest sell. Also, the second biggest sell is that, I mean, it kind of goes along with the fact that everybody needs it, but we're living unfortunately in a world divided, and it is something that everyone can agree on.
Yeah, I mean, I never met anyone that didn't like kindness. So
Yeah,
you have a good point there.
that's right. Or if they didn't, and if they really claimed that they didn't like kindness, maybe they just needed a little bit.
There's dozens and hundreds of different ways to go about it. And so you can personalize it. So whether that's checking in on your neighbors or picking up litter or opening the door for someone, or, if this podcast is an excellent example because libraries are community kindness, right?
Mhm.
Place where anybody of any age and background can come and not just check out books, but use a computer and get some help preparing their resume and all those kinds of skills. And so, right, there's all kinds of different ways that people can adopt that mission.
Do you have tools of support for those individuals and groups, kind of help them spread the word about be kind?
We do. Well, I mean, not only do we have our suggested lessons and activities for the schools, for the community, and for businesses, we of course have the app. That's the biggest tool that folks can use. But we do offer free posters, free yard signs. We have a store where people can buy merchandise to spread the mission further. So yeah, there are all kinds of ways, and I think that what's important about Kindland is you do have to have that passionate leader, specifically in a school or an organization, that is going to take their kindness to the max to make this a combined effort that everybody works towards.
Now, this organization was created here in Cleveland, but I understand it's also nationwide.
That's correct. So we've got schools in many different states. One of the things that the organization kind of saw during COVID and a little bit beforehand was if it's just us, our kind of small staff going out and delivering these seminars, we're limited by the school year and our scheduling and travel. If we empower principals and superintendents, guidance counselors, and schools to make the program their own, then we can really spread. And one of our major initiatives for this year is called the United States of Kindness, where we're going to be encouraging schools, communities, and individuals all over the country to commit to doing 250 acts of kindness for America's 250th birthday. So really looking at that national spread and how it can impact as many communities as possible.
Wow, what a great way to commemorate this milestone for the country.
Well, when we think about patriotism, we often think about, our presidents and our leaders. Those Americans who have really demonstrated kindness in the past and made it their mission are also really great patriots. The example I give people is Clara Barton, right, who founded the American Red Cross, right, Civil War nurse, really starting this organization that has had an impact on millions of Americans through blood drives and community donations and disaster relief.
A more kinder America.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of a nice ring to it. And that's something to look forward to this year. Tell us again, where can people go for more information? How can they download the app?
Yep, the app is available in Apple, if you have an Apple device or an Android device, in the respective app stores. You'll just want to search Just Be Kind. and it'll pop up there and you can download it there. There's a little bit of a registration process. And then everything else, all Kindland information can be found at bekindland.org.
And they can take the pledge from the app?
They'll take the pledge on the website at bekindland.org. Right when you get to bekindland.org, there's a form right at the top. It's the first thing you do to pledge to be kind.
Is there anything else you would like us to know?
Just if you're keep an eye out for some additional information for our February Kickoff for Kindness competition broadcast, right? That'll be going to schools across the country and libraries, sharing student and player kindness stories and our additional programs and opportunities coming in the spring.
Sounds good. Thank you so much for coming and telling us about Kindland. And it's a great year to just be kind.
Sure is. Thank you so, so much.
Now it's time for the library news you cannot use.
Do you remember the British invasion back in the 1960s when the Beatles' music came to America, spearheading an influx of music from Great Britain and changing the culture of rock music in the United States? Well, Hungary's oldest library is experiencing its own Beatles invasion, one it wants nothing to do with. According to NBCnews.com, nearly 100,000 books are in danger at the Panahalma Arch Abbey, which is a 1,000-year-old UNESCO World Heritage Site in Hungary. The abbey is so old it predates the establishing of the Kingdom of Hungary. It holds manuscripts that predate the invention of the printing press and a complete Bible from the 13th century. So they own several priceless items there. I can't imagine their reaction when they discovered that many of the Abbey's 400,000 book collection had been infested by beetles at the beginning of the disinfecting process. You won't see beetles at the Aina Haina Public Library in Hawaii, but you will see their newest employee, Pepper. Pepper is a bit different than most library employees here at Euclid Public Library. Standing at 4 feet tall and weighing 42 pounds, Pepper is actually a rolling robot that greets visitors and promotes programs. According to HawaiiPublicRadio.org, patrons can interact with Pepper at the East Honolulu Library, asking questions through a touchscreen and hand gestures. Plus, Pepper will giggle when you tickle its head. One thing to be aware of, Pepper is not all that quiet, especially for a library. Well, I would love to see a robot like Pepper in our library, but unfortunately, it's not in our budget. Thanks for listening to Checked Out. You can learn more about Euclid Public Library by going to our website, euclidlibrary.org.